Okay, this is really strange. Really strange. Now, I get ready to shoot this video, and like I do most of the time, I always have to scratch my nose. Why is it that whenever I decide to shoot you guys off a video, regardless what the topic is, I have to scratch my nose? I don't very often otherwise. I just, for some reason, when I'm on camera, I get this urge to just scratch my nose. So, there's always that. Hello, boys and girls. Sir and Disney here, and it is Saturday evening, almost 10 p.m., and I didn't have to work today, so I got a lot of great stuff accomplished. I mowed the backyard, because somehow, someway, the front yard was mowed. Don't know what happened there. And I showered, I relaxed, I just chilled out for the day, did absolutely nothing, just lazed around, watched videos. And started the planning stages for next year's big trip, actually. I'll be going home next year, but I will not be alone. Oh no, I'll be bringing my dad and my stepmother with me, so that's going to be really fun. And it's going to be a completely different demographic when it comes to a trip for me. I mean, I'm going to have to plan pretty much everything to their liking, and my stepmom and I will come up with the greatest touring plan that will get them to do everything that they want to do. And they're going in a great year, because 2014 brings Diagon Alley to Universal, as well as the Seven Dwarfs Mine Coaster to the new Fantasyland at Magic Kingdom. So that's a lot of awesome stuff. Blue Man Group has been discussed. I've never been to Blue Man Group, and I will officially be a preferred pass holder as of this year, so why not? Why the heck not? And I don't know if they want to go to Lanuba. It'd be my third time Lanuba, so I don't know if that'll happen or not, so I don't know if they're going to watch Circus. See, that nose drives me insane. Hope you guys did check out AJ's movie review from yesterday. We reviewed The Purge, The Internship, and Jason Statham's new film, Redemption, which people outside the U.S. would know as Hummingbird. And that movie's coming out in 2 weeks. He got a nice jump on everyone. AJ got to see it before all of you, so you guys want to see it. You can see if you want to see it or not based on AJ's movie review. And it's also here on this Pop playlist. Unless you are checking this out on the NXT Smackdown playlist, and in that case, click the regular Pop playlist on the main page here on Pop, and you can find that very video. It's already had a lot of hits, and hopefully a lot of people like it. Hopefully everyone that saw the video likes it. And AJ will continue to do more movie reviews. We're going to be watching This Is the End on Tuesday night. And Friday we're going to be watching Man of Steel. So we've got that in the can to come out. And I think we're going to Before Midnight this weekend too. I'm not positive on that, actually. I want to check real quick to make sure I'm not losing my mind, which is very possible, to be totally honest. I'm going to check this while we talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Athena Grand is not the place I'm going. We're going to the Athena Cinema, actually, the little 3-screen theater that only has 2 right now. So, next week, they are getting... Yeah, there it is. Next week, I'm going to make sure I got this right, and my dates are correct here. Give me a calendar. Yeah, that's right. Next week, they're getting Before Midnight, which is the sequel to Before Sunrise and Before Sunset. It's kind of like the third in the trilogy, the Ethan Hawke, Julie Delpy movies. And Richard Linklater is the director, and this is going to be pretty good, and we're looking to see that. Don't know what else is going to be in Athens. I don't know if we're going to watch What Maisie Knew or anything like that. I don't know if that... I know At Any Price is already gone, so we're not going to get to watch that. So, Renoir, maybe. I don't know. It just depends. Maybe there's something in Athens at the Grand that we're going to want to see. But Before Midnight's that week. Don't know what the week after that is. And on February, wow. I don't know why I said February. June 28th is Francis Ha, so we'll be going to Athens to watch all of those. And next week, we'll also... this week, which is Man of Steel and probably Before Midnight, as well as This Is the End. Next week is Monsters University and World War Z, so that's going to be fun as well. So look forward to that in the near future. So check out AJ's movie reviews. He'd be very happy if you did. So that hour and a half that we spend on these reviews were not in vain. And trust me, they're not, because a lot of you guys and girls out there seem to be telling me you like these videos. You don't comment, you don't like thumbs up the videos, but I can tell by the fact that you viewed them so many times that you enjoy them, so that's always a good thing. Will's supposed to be joining me tomorrow for filming. Hopefully you're going to get a new Will tutorial, and hopefully in the near future, before the week's over, Mr. Flashback's going to be shooting us a couple videos, actually. He's going to be doing Stand with Muscles, and he's got something else in mind for our next video. But he won't tell me. Actually, I do know, but I mean, I won't tell you guys because it's a secret. You'll find out at the end of the Stand with Muscles review. Ben is supposed to be joining me on Monday to film some stuff for the channel, and he's got some gems for you. Went to a couple live concerts. He's got a video game review he wants to go over, and he's got a lot of things. So he's got some stuff for the channel that come out on Monday. Hopefully we get that stuff filmed before Raw. So tomorrow, if something happens and Will's unable to join us, I will be discussing Halloween Horror Nights. Actually, the house locations have been announced officially via the permits, and I want to talk about that. And if somehow if somehow Will cannot join us tomorrow for whatever reason, we'll shoot you that Halloween Horror Nights video. And if not, you'll probably get it on Wednesday or Thursday, because as of right now, we don't have content for those days as well. Molly's been super busy lately, so hopefully she'll be joining us in the near future. I'm going to try to film with her very soon if I possibly can. At least get you guys out a getting to know you video, so you can learn a little bit more about our newest podcaster. And like I said, a little birdie told me that there's going to be a new person coming to Pop that's going to be focusing on horror movies. Probably the lowest of the low, the B-rated horror movies, yeah. Like Trauma, stuff like that, so there's always that. So that's all still coming to Pop, and of course, every week you're going to get every single thing from me, all the Raw, SmackDown, Impact, and NXT recaps here on this channel, as well as Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, and other theme park news, and whatever I decide to talk about. So there's always that. So, now that that's done, said, oh, I got a couple more things left. I actually have a place to stay for December 4th now. And right now, as everyone knows, I'm waitlisted for Bay Lake Tower, which is the kind of like the add-on to the Contemporary, which is right next to the Magic Kingdom. Like, literally, it's in walking distance of Magic Kingdom. I know I've done that walk several times. Walking from the Magic Kingdom to the Contemporary and catching the bus to Downtown Disney is a huge time saver, and I recommend it, especially because it allows you not to have to spend 4,000 hours waiting in line for a Value Resort bus, because that's just how it works. But I just walk there, take a bus to whatever is closest, and then I transfer over to Downtown Disney, and it takes a lot less time than it would waiting 4 hours in line standing. So at least I can sit down at the bus stop at the Contemporary. So there's always that. So I'm not there yet. I'm on a wait list, so hopefully I'm getting in. There's a method to my madness, though. I needed to have a backup plan, and my backup plan is another resort, which I booked the other day, and I'm officially staying at Saratoga Springs. So Saratoga Springs is my first day for Reunion 2013 this year, before I transfer over to All-Star Movies for Reunion. And then the 13th, I'll check into the Boardwalk, and then the 14th, I'll check into Old Key West, and I might be staying somewhere else. I haven't decided. I'm looking into DVC, like, points transfers and renting points, and I might stay on the 15th at another resort, just so I can stay until stay the night of the 15th, and then I leave on the 16th, late afternoon, early evening, somewhere in that time frame. But I'm working on that right now, trying to formulate a plan. And if Bay Lake Tower does not come through, I'm still at Saratoga Springs, so I'm not homeless for the first night. I actually do have a home resort for that evening. Well, what I'm shooting for is come August 4th to turn that over into a reservation for the villas at the Grand Floridian. Because everyone knows me knows that I've always wanted to stay at the Grand Floridian. And I stayed at the Poly last year for a reunion, and I want to stay at the Grand Floridian this year. So Poly, Grand Floridian, and then rent points in 2014. Since I'm not using any of my points, I'm going to bank them for 2015's big Disney World Disneyland trip in 1 week. And I'm going to rent points just so I can stay at Bay Lake Tower. So the Poly last year, the Grand Floridian this year, and Bay Lake Tower next year, which might end up being flipped, so it just depends. Or I may not get to stay at either one this year. I might get stuck at Saratoga Springs. And if that's the case, then 2014 I'll stay at Bay Lake Tower, and 2015 I'll stay at Grand Floridian, because I'm staying at the Grand Californian, obviously, for my Disneyland part of that week. But there's always that. So that's what I've been doing today. Pretty much nothing. So, I've got me notes here, like a pirate I am, and we're going to start talking about NXT and Smackdown. So, this show, this first episode that we want to talk about right now, this first thing I want to discuss is NXT for this week. Of course, we discussed NXT, then we go into Smackdown. Well, a lot of parallels between the two this week, for different reasons, but I'll get to that in a minute. So, the show starts with Jim Ross coming out of all people, and he's going to be the mediator of the official contract signing for next week's NXT Championship match with Big E Langston defending against the winner of the 18-man over-the-top rope battle royal last week on NXT, Bo Dallas, i.e. the most hated man in NXT, by the crowd at least. So, he basically comes out, and like I said, Bo Dallas eliminated his former tag team partner, Adrian Neville, and he won that Battle Royal, so that's the reason why he's getting this title shot. So Big E Langston signs the contract, and Bo grabs the mic and says, you know what, before I'm going to sign this contract, I really don't appreciate how you confronted me after the Battle Royal. And he says he's not a joke. Big E's like, you know, you moved on to bigger and better things. I mean, you're on Raw, you're at WrestleMania, you're best friends with the World Heavyweight Champion Dolph Ziggler, and I want those things. But Dallas, it's all about you. It's all about you. Biggie, 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 Biggie. It's literally the Jan Brady syndrome. No lie. So, basically, Biggie kind of laughs at him and says, you know what? Well, real quick before he says that, he says, I don't want to be the champion. I have to be the champion. Alright. So, there's 3 seconds that are going to change my life and make history. Now, Big E's like, you know, I earned some respect from you. You got some serious cojones because you stood toe-to-toe with the Big Show. You got knocked out, but you still stood toe-to-toe with the Big Show. Now, I'm the biggest and baddest man NXT has ever seen. You're just a geek. You wear pajamas with footies in them, and you probably still live in your parents' basement. You smile like it's going out of style. Every day, smiling, walking, smiling, drinking, smiling, driving, smiling, sleeping, smiling. You smile all the time. You said you need 3 seconds? I'll crush your dreams in 5. Nice promo from Big E Langston. Like I said, slowly but surely, Big E Langston's growing on me day by day. And I'm really going to like when Dolph and AJ turn on him in the WWE and Big E goes babyface. Because I think he's going to be a very strong babyface. And the Mark Henry, Big E Langston match that somehow could materialize when Mark Henry decides to come back, I think it's definitely going to work. So we got a long time until SummerSlam. It's not until August, so I mean, who knows what's going to happen between now and then. We still got Payback and Money in the Bank before SummerSlam. So 2 pay-per-views to get Mark Henry back on television. So, we see Renee Young backstage, and she's with Corey Graves, the leader of the Filth Parade, of course. He says, tonight the Wyatt family is going to fall. They're 2 unstoppable monsters. And Bray Wyatt, the madman, the patriarch. You know, they fired the first shot at a one-man army. I don't like Cassius Ohno, but the NXT Tag Team Championships are much bigger than my hatred for Ohno. I will single-handedly tear down the Wyatt family brick by brick. Fair enough. So, last week, Stephanie McMahon, of all people, shows up on NXT and reveals there is going to be a crowning of a brand new NXT Women's Champion. Not a Divas Champion, a Women's Champion, which I wish WWE would, I don't know, bring back the Women's Championship, because the butterfly belt's gotta go, and gotta go like yesterday. That belt is hideous. And this new NXT Women's Championship looks actually kind of cool. And, you know, I mean, the butterfly belt, you probably just want to hide the fact you have that. I'm sure Caitlyn doesn't like carrying that through the airports. But, the NXT Women's Championship, you know, it looks kind of classy, to be totally honest. It's got diamonds and the NXT logo. It's really cool. I like it. So we're going to have a little tournament to determine the brand new and the first NXT Women's Champion. This starts tonight on NXT. And we started off with Tamina Snuka taking on the anti-diva Paige. So, I'm going to talk about the tournament in a minute, because actually we saw the brackets after the match was over, but I'll discuss that as soon as we get to it. So, basically, these are two, like, I can't call them really anti-divas. I know that's the terminology they're going with. But basically, Paige says she's pretty much the new kind of diva. She's a diva for a new millennium. She's not an anti-diva. I know people have named her that, but that's not what she is. So, she's going to face off against Tamina Snuka, who gets pretty much criminally underutilized on Raw and SmackDown. Kind of the same way that Natty does, but unfortunately, Natty's on television just to talk to Khali and Hornswoggle and Caitlyn. Yeah. She wrestles occasionally. She does wrestle on house shows. Wrestles occasionally on, like, Main Event or, like, Superstars. But sadly, she doesn't really work on television much anymore. And that's a pretty big shame. Because Natty is definitely the strongest woman's competitor WWE has. And the one that they don't use. So, that's how it works. Natty would be awesome in TNA. But, yeah, it's not going to happen. At least not for a while. Not until her contract's up. So, Natty and TJ Wilson going to TNA? Yeah, make that happen. So, Tamina hits a snap suplex and gets a 2 count for it. She hair mare into a reverse chinlock, and Tamina gets back elbows and a knee drop off the ropes, but Paige kicks out at 1 this time. Goes back to a chinlock, and she eventually ends up choking Paige on the middle rope. Actually, the bottom rope in this case. Middle rope's later on in the show. Nice big scoop slam, and goes for another lateral press, gets a 2 out of it. She hits a standing side kick out of the corner. She drags Paige to the corner, going up top with a superfly splash. She dives off, catches the knees of Paige. Paige schoolgirls her from behind, and 1, 2, 3. So Paige is the first person to advance in the NXT Women's Championship Tournament. Now, let's talk about this tournament, shall we? Now, the NXT Women's Championship Tournament is going to combine superstars from NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. Now, Paige just won her first match, defeating Tamina Snuka. Now, Alicia Fox, who is the most accident-prone diva in the WWE roster, who should have been fired years ago. I'm sure she's a nice girl, but she's just not getting this wrestling thing at all. And I'll use terminology. She doesn't get wrestling, I'm pretty sure. She's not really... She's athletic, and she's got some charisma, but she's not really a good wrestler at all. And she knows she's kind of prone to hurting people. Whether it's an accident or not, she's still kind of prone to hurting people. So yeah, she's going to face off against Bayley. And we're going to see Sasha Banks taking on Summer Rae, and Emma taking on Oksana. So here's how I think the tournament's going to flow out. This is exactly what I believe will happen. Next week, Alicia Fox is probably going to beat Bayley. I don't want that to happen. I want Bayley to win. But, I don't know. Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. Bayley beats Alicia Fox. I had to think about it for a second. Bayley wins because obviously the NXT people are going to beat the WWE people. That makes sense. So, Bayley wins over Alicia Fox. Summer Rae beats Sasha Banks, and Emma goes over on Oksana. So that way, Paige gets rid of Bayley, and Summer Rae cheats to beat Emma. And our finals are Paige and Summer Rae. And given the fact that Summer Rae is now officially on Raw with Fandango, yeah, I would say Paige is your first NXT Women's Champion. And again, I don't have a problem with that. So, we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, we get Renee backstage again, this time with Cassius Ohno. And Ohno says his plan of attack is just simply to attack. So it's about destruction, terror, and mayhem. Shut up, Danny-O. Tonight, he dives headfirst into the fortress wall for the gold. You see, and Corey Graves likes to be alone, likes to be a lone wolf. Well, you know, it didn't really work out very well for you last time you were alone. So, just remember this. Tonight, it's not a wrestling match. This is going to be a war. So, we get our next match of the evening with Colin Cassidy taking on Mason Ryan. And it's basically a glorified squash. But Cassidy keeps up a bit because he's about the same size as Ryan, so it's fine. So last week, you can't take away from the fact that Mason Ryan eliminated 11 guys before being eliminated in the aforementioned 18-man over-the-top rope battle royal to determine the #1 contender to Big E Langston's NXT Championship. Well, he hits a big boot and a headbutt, shoulder thrust into the midsection. He whips him in, chest first into the buckle. He hits a rebound lariat and picks him up in the rack and then spins him around into the hard-way Chris Con Effort, the torture rack into a neck breaker, and gets the 3 count from it. So yeah, there's a win right there for Mason Ryan. Kind of a useless match. We see Renee backstage again, this time with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is kind of like, at this point, he looks a lot like, what would happen if, like, I'll use a Conan O'Brien reference, what would happen if something, like, random, like, created a weird time continuum rip or whatever, and Seth Rogen and Dustin Screech Diamond mutated together. That's what Sami Zayn looked like. So, basically, he talks about Antonio Cesaro and his win over Antonio Cesaro. He's like, you know what, on that night, I was better. So Cesaro walks in and he goes, you know what, all you got was a cheap win. And Zayn pretty much retorts by saying, all you did, well, actually, no, sorry. Cesaro says, you know what, you just got that cheap win, and all you did in doing that was just tick me off. And you know what, you should know by now, that will not end very well for you. So, he basically just asks him what he'd like to know right now is where did he get his sweet, sweet man purse. And of course, the camera shows that Antonio Cesaro has this, like, satchel over his shoulder and everything. And then they brawl. So, we are going to get another Antonio Cesaro-Sami Zayn match. And having seen many, many matches in the independents with El Generico taking on Claudio Castagnoli, I can't wait to see this match brought to the forefront at NXT. The match they had last time, Sami Zayn had a really awesome match with Kurt Hawkins, and then he basically, Cesaro comes out and says, I don't have any challengers, there's nobody that wants to face me, nobody in WWE, Raw, SmackDown, or especially NXT, and Sami Zayn accepts the challenge. So, that match was awesome, and this match is going to be great, so I cannot wait to see Cesaro and Zayn 2 in NXT in the very near future. I can't wait till they bring up Zayn too. I cannot wait till they bring Zayn up to the main roster. Because Zayn and Corey Graves and Cassius Ohno, they needed to be there a long time ago, and I'm very glad that eventually, very soon, they're going to get their chance to shine. And that's awesome. Adrian Neville's in that group too. So those 4 right there definitely need to be brought up, because they're bringing up the Wyatt family already, so I can't really bring them up now, because obviously they're coming up. Big E's already back in there, and that's pretty much what I want to do. Other than bringing some of the NXT Divas up to the main roster. I mean, but it's not time yet. Except for Summer Rae, and of course she's with Fandango, so it kind of makes sense. So we get another squash match. This time we see somebody that I haven't seen in forever, and that's Alex Riley. Last time we saw Alex Riley, he got laid out on Raw. Well, Alex Riley shows up, and he's going to face off against the one-man Ascension, Conor O'Brien. Once again, I stress this, Conor O'Brien is not the name of a guy who kicks people's butts. Wow, that sounds really lame. Conor O'Brien is not the name of a monster. He's not the name of a devastator. It's not the name of a guy you're trying to build as a freak that's going to be able to destroy everyone. No. The Ascension Conor O'Brien. Close, but not quite. But still, I hate the name. He needs to change it, like, right now. Of course, O'Brien was also in the Battle Royal, and he's one of the final 6 competitors before he got eliminated. Actually, he got eliminated by, I think it was Corey Graves and Cassius Ohno teamed up together, and they both eliminated him. So, O'Brien's got this move, which is a rolling side headlock takeover, and I love it. I think it's awesome, because it sets him apart from a lot of people. And Riley ends up hitting a spinning back elbow off the ropes, and a top rope clothesline, and basically he powers out in 1. So he gets caught with a tip-up, and he gets caught in that tip-up and dropped throat first over the top rope. So it's a charging clothesline, he nails his flapjack, and then he locks him in a grounded octopus, which they call the stockade, for the submission. No Rick Victor this week, so the teaming of the Ascension Tag Team will have to wait for another edition of NXT, even though they've been doing it on NXT house shows for the last, like, month or so. But that's fine. well, let's go to our main event, shall we? Main event for the NXT Tag Team Championship, Team Norm Connors, Team IWC, that young knockout kid, Cassius Ohno, and the leader of the Filth Parade, Corey Graves, taking on the current and reigning NXT Tag Team Champions, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, the Wyatt family. And of course, when you got the Wyatt family, you got Bray Wyatt you have to worry about as well. So, Wyatt comes out, cuts a promo, like he loves to do, and every time, you should pay attention, because Wyatt has something very important he has to say. Says, "You don't favor your ability to breathe. I am the eater of worlds. These two men, they want to give an introduction on their own." So Rowan drags the rocking chair out to the ramp, and of course, Bray sits down. That's how he does. We go midway through the match, and Eric Rowan locks on a chin lock on Ohno. Ohno fights out of it, stomping the foot, and tags in Luke Harper. European uppercut twice, and he gets a 2 count out of it. Tagged back into Rowan. So, a short whip into a reverse jawbreaker from Ohno on Rowan. Wow, long day. So, tagging to Corey Graves. Corey Graves dives in, clips the knee out from under him, nails Harper when he tries to get in the ring. He nails a backdrop, lands on the ring apron. He catches the big boot from Harper, who's standing right on the ring apron, because basically backdropped him onto the apron in the corner of the Wyatt family. So, they roll him back in, and a lateral press only gets a 2 count. So he tagged back into Harper, he gets an elbow off the ropes, drops the knee, and gets the 2 out of that. Tagged back into Rowan, he hits a short whip into a knee strike, and a pump handle backbreaker for a near fall. So he locks in the Canadian backbreaker, and eventually lets him go, tags Rowan in, and, well, sorry, tags Harper in. Read the notes wrong, sorry. So a suplex, reverse into a nice small package, and 2 count from that, and a crucifix, gets a 2 count from that, goes for a powerbomb, gets backdropped out of it, tagging to Cassius Ohno, wow, long day. So he fights both men, one by one, he hits a hooking clothesline on Luke Harper, he charges with the forearm in the corner, and hits a leaping back senton for a 2 count. At this point, he kicks Rowan off the ring apron, and Bray Wyatt gets up, and for the distraction, Harper goes for the discus clothesline, and Ohno ducks it out of the way. He hits a rolling headbutt, which looked awesome, gets a 2 out of that. Rowan makes a save just in the nick of time. Corey Graves hits a clothesline, sends Rowan over the top rope to the arena floor, and Bray nails Ohno in the back of the head with a clubbing blow. Graves nails a corkscrew plancha. Ooh, excuse me. And Ohno gets nailed with a discus clothesline and pinned. So, good showing from this main event. Great showing from this main event, actually. And the 4 men really are very similar in styles in different ways. I mean, they're very stiff, very strong style in this match. What have we learned from NXT? Well, next week we're going to be getting our NXT Championship match. Big E Langston defending against Bo Dallas. And that's going to happen next week. We're also going to be seeing more matches from the NXT Women's Title Tournament. And that most likely will end up being Bayley against Alicia Fox. Or Summer Rae against Sasha Banks. Or maybe even Emma and Oksana. I don't know which one of the ones is going to play out, but that's going to be coming down. We saw the Corb. Yeah, that's an old school terminology. The King of the Ring board. The brackets for the tournament, and that's how I'm basing that, so we got that. So, what did we learn? Basically, the fans don't like Bo Dallas. They don't like him at all. No Mo Bo. No Mo Bo. That's all has to be said. Bo Dallas is very hated by the NXT fans at Full Sail, and pretty much any NXT event. Big E Langston looks to just crush him like a bug, and we'll see what happens next week. Corey Graves and Cassius Ohno make a great tag team, even though they have a lot of problems with being a cohesive unit given the fact that they don't like each other. But sometimes if you don't like each other, you can work really well as a tag team. It's happened many times before. Kane and Daniel Bryan are a very good example. I mean, they have not liked each other for a while, and they took a long time to get to like each other, and they were still winning when they did that, so there's always that. Paige wins over Tamina Snuka, gets a nice win over a veteran WWE competitor, and that's really good for her, and we see the fact that she is leading towards becoming the first ever NXT Women's Champion. Again, I don't have a problem with that. So, Mason Ryan is still on a tear, and we don't know what to do with him, really, so hopefully he'll get in the ring. I think Mason Ryan is going to end up feuding with Conor O'Brien somewhere down the road, not because their names are similar, or they rhyme. I'm going to go with the fact that they're two monsters that they're trying to get over, so I honestly think we're going to get Mason Ryan against Conor O'Brien in the very near future. And again, I don't have a problem with that. The main event was really good. I'm very happy to see the Wyatt family are going to be coming up to Raw and SmackDown very soon. Actually, I will be discussing that very soon because we're going to be talking SmackDown in a minute. But that was NXT. And like I said, we coast next week. We get our NXT Championship match, Big E Langston against Bo Dallas. And another match in the first round of the NXT Women's Title Tournament. And who knows what else we're going to see. Could we see D Squared, maybe? That's a possibility. It could be anybody from the NXT roster. And that's always a good thing, because it's really great to see this kind of action. If you don't have a way to watch NXT, then hopefully you can check it out. It's on Hulu Plus. If you're in the United States, it's the only way you really can check it out, unless you want to search YouTube or Dailymotion and find it that way. That's how I do it. And if you're out of the U.S., then good for you, because you probably have a way to see it somehow televised. But we don't as of right now. Hopefully somewhere, somehow, they're going to bring NXT onto television here in the U.S. So we can all get weekly NXT. And I know you guys are talking about, Owen, why don't you review any independents? Well, I don't have access to independents right now. And I don't have money for iPay reviews or anything like that, so it'd be kind of pointless to review stuff like that. But you know, I'm thinking about possibly getting back into Ring of Honor. I'm going to have to pick up on storylines from where they left off, but I'm really interested in this whole ROH versus Scum. This situation. There was an awesome promo that I saw on 4-on-1 Mania this morning. Nigel McGuinness cut about Steve Corino and the battle they're going to have. The roster of Ring of Honor trying to take out Scum and vice versa. And if Ring of Honor wins, Scum is disbanded. If Scum wins, then Corino gets Nigel's job, and by getting Nigel's job, he's able to destroy Ring of Honor, which is what he wants to do. It's an awesome promo. Check it out. Nigel McGuinness is amazing, and I really wish his in-ring career hadn't been cut so short, because he deserves to be in the WWE right now. I mean, I was even big on the Desmond Wolfe character in TNA. I thought it worked really well, and I really like Chelsea. She was really nice to look at. But Desmond Wolfe was awesome. I love the promo with the program and the promos with Kurt Angle. I thought they were awesome. And Nigel McGuinness, it kind of missed the boat, and that sucks because of what happened to him. But it's the breaks, I guess. And at least it's Ring of Honor's gain, because he cuts tremendous promos for them, and that's cool. So that would be NXT. Let's talk SmackDown. So, I just finished watching SmackDown about an hour ago. Oh, I want to voice an opinion here. I want to voice a complaint to WWE. Alright. I DVR'd SmackDown. Okay. Why did I DVR SmackDown? Well, we got done with AJ's movie review after 9 last night, and lo and behold, I didn't feel like going into SmackDown late, so I just waited, and I was going to review it today. Usually I watch SmackDown and NXT right after each other. Tonight, I was kind of late on it. I mean, I waited like 4 hours in between NXT and SmackDown before I watched the other one. So, there's always that. 2, like I said, I PVR. So, PVR, DVR, depending on how you want to call it, depending on where you're from, PVR, DVR works the same way. DVR is the greatest invention ever, by the way. Especially for a wrestling fan. So, I fast-forward all the Raw stuff. Okay? I fast-forward all the recaps that I've already recapped for you guys on Monday, or Tuesday, depending on when you watch the video. And, you know what? With all that stuff, and I have all these notes here. I mean, I have 2 pages of notes here from SmackDown. And for a 2-hour show, that's alright, I guess. Raw is about 4 pages normally. Well, 3 pages front to back, usually about 6 pages. This is 4 pages, so, I mean, there you go. And these are really tiny pieces of paper, so, like, if you were curious, this is how it looks. Look at this wonderful writing. I don't know how I can even read it. That's the reason I mess up sometimes. Because I can't read my own writing sometimes, because it's so jumbled. And it was really hard, because there was a promo here to start the show with Miz TV, and I had to keep pausing and to write everything down to make sure I got everything verbatim for you guys. So, I am a perfectionist, even though I suck at it. But let's talk SmackDown, and we started the show off with the aforementioned Miz TV, and it is going to chronicle the dissension between Randy Orton and Hell No, Of course, Randy Orton and Hell No were about this close to beating the Shield in a 6-man tag on Raw Monday night. An awesome match, if you guys remember me talking about that. If you haven't seen it, go back and check it out on YouTube, or read my review, actually, for the Raw recap this week. It's on the WWE Raw playlist. It's also here on Pop, or it's in the Pop playlist. Just move it forward a little bit. It's probably still on the page, and if not, just find it. It's worth it. So, basically, they all four... Yeah, that's it. They all come out, and The Miz is standing in the ring and says, you know what? Before you stir the pot, I have something to say. This is Daniel Bryan speaking, mind you. I've had a lot of time to think. Randy didn't really intend to hit me, and you know what? Kane was... I pushed him away when he was just trying to help. And I just wanted to try... I wouldn't accept his help, obviously. Last Friday... Miz continues, says, you know what, last Friday you single-handedly defeated all 3 members of the Shield. Like, didn't really defeat, you took it to all 3 members of the Shield. And you know what? Do you ever get the feeling you don't get the respect you deserve? And Brian's like, sometimes. He's like, and others just look at you like you're a goat face, vegan, troll. Orton stops him and tells Miz, you know, you might want to be careful what you say to the kid. His head's kind of messed up right now. Brian, of course, denies this, and Kane goes, yeah, his head's really messed up. So, Kane says, you know what, me and Randy and everyone in the WWE Universe has the utmost respect for you. And Orton goes, you know what? Although I respect you less and less when you whine about being the weak link. So Brian goes on and says, you know what, Randy, you were in my way. That's the reason I got caught. That's the reason we lost. He's basically blaming Randy Orton for the loss, which in essence is kind of true. So Kane tries to play peacemaker momentarily, and he goes, you know what, I've always had Daniel's back, but I'm getting really tired of not being trusted. So Brian goes, you know what, how many times have you left me alone to defend against the onslaught of the Shield? You know what, you were just forced to team with me. And if you had anybody else but me, you'd be out in 2 seconds. And Kane's like, that's it, I've had enough. You've lost your mind. He says, Randy, you're on your own. And Kane just leaves. Miz is like, really? Really? Did we just see the end of Hell No on Miz TV? And Brian goes, you know what? You're going to make this out to being my fault. Well, this isn't my fault. And the king of the tag team match comes out. Of course, I'm talking about Peanut Head, Teddy Long. He says, slow your roll, playa. He doesn't, but I mean, that's exactly what he's trying to say. He's like, you know what? You guys want to throw your differences together? How about we have ourselves a tag team match? Daniel Bryan taking on the Shield. And you know what? Since your partner doesn't seem to like you at this point and wants nothing to do with teaming with you, how about you team up with the Viper, Randy Orton? Yeah. Either way, that's going to give us an awesome main event. So it's Bryan and Orton against Reigns and Rollins for television main event. So we get our next match of the evening, and it is Curtis Axel taking on Y2J Chris Jericho. Paul Heyman comes out and goes, what? In 3 weeks, Curtis Axel has had 3 victories. 1 over Triple H, and 2 over the current WWE Champion, John Cena. Tonight, another former world champion will learn what it means to be perfect. So we get midway through the match. There's a chop and a cover for 2. Snapmare and the somersault neck snap from Axel, and he gets a 2 count out of it. He locks on a chin lock, and this time he rolls forward, does Jericho, which flips him off. He ducks the clothesline, nails 2 shoulder tackles. He tosses him over the top, but he lands on the ring apron. He goes up the top rope, crowns him with a double axe handle, and goes for the walls of Jericho. He gets kicked off this time, and he nails the face buster, but he misses the lion salt because Axel gets out of the way. He nails the axe to grind off the ropes for the 2 count. He whips in, misses with the charging splash. He goes up top, Jericho with a flying body press for a 2 count, and he ducks the clothesline and goes for a backslide, does Axel, and he spins it around into 2 knee strikes to the midsection, goes for the perfect plex, he gets countered into the walls of Jericho yet again, right in the center of the ring, Axel crawling like valiantly to the bottom rope, and he grabs it right in the nick of time. Jericho hits the springboard drop kick and knocks him to the arena floor. Heyman jumps up on the announce table. Oh, by the way, I want to talk about this in a second. Before I mention Heyman jumping on the announce table in the finish of this match. So Paul Heyman's on commentary for this match. And it's really funny, because WWE is usually like, if it happened a long time ago, obviously it never happened. And they're not going to reference the fact that it happened, even though it did. That's why it's funnier when you realize what exactly you're seeing right before your eyes. So Heyman's on commentary. And JBL is now, even though he's loved by the crowd, he's the heel commentator. I mean, don't get it twisted, he's the heel commentator. Because it's just JBL and Cole tonight. Josh Matthews is obviously not here. So he's the heel commentator, so he's got to provide the heel perspective. So Heyman and JBL are acting like they're best buddies. We forget about One Night Stand, where JBL was told the only reason that you are champion is because Triple H doesn't want to work on Tuesday nights. Yeah. I know that's a kayfabe answer, but it's still funny. And it's still funny to see Paul Heyman and JBL acting like they're the best of buddies, the best of friends, when they wanted to kill each other back in the One Night Stand pay-per-view at the Hammerstein Ballroom in 2006. So, yeah, there's always that. Let me go to that real quick to make sure. So, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. 2005. 2006 was the night that it was the WCW thing. But 2005 was when it was all legitimately ECW. It was the Hammerstein Ballroom, and that was the night that Rob Van Dam cashed in Money in the Bank on John Cena and won the WWE Championship. Of course, him and Sabu got busted for pot and outside of West Virginia, and needless to say, they stripped the belts off of him because he had the ECW title and the WWE title at the time. They got stripped out of it, and the Big Show ended up taking the championship from Van Dam, and the rest, as we say, is history. So, good match. Good match. And, but I'll get to that in a second. Now, he hits the Jericho dropkick, like I said, and Heyman gets up on the announce table, and he points at his wrists and yells, "It's clobbering time!" Punk's music hits. His Titantron starts. Jericho gets distracted long enough for Axel to slide back in the ring. He rolls him up from behind, hooks the tights, and steals the win. So, a pinfall win on Chris Jericho for Curtis Axel. That's the right answer. So, after the match is over, Jericho leaves, and he's a little disheveled for the fact that he got one-upped by Axel and Heyman both. He's like, you know what? Screw this. So he runs back in the ring, charges in, and he gives the codebreaker to Curtis Axel after doing the ground and pound, and then he walked him into the codebreaker, and then he stares at Paul Heyman, basically saying, I want CM Punk, and I want him now. He has to wait till next week at Payback, though. Supposedly. I'm still going out on a limb and say Punk isn't wrestling at Payback. I still think it's going to be Jericho, Axel at Payback. Because Jericho signed the contract, but he didn't sign a match. He signed for a match against CM Punk, but he didn't realize this wasn't for a match against CM Punk. Or they could do it where Jericho faces Brock Lesnar and he gets destroyed, and Punk comes out and just... They could do a whole thing where Punk like makes a save for some reason, and him and Lesnar could go at it, and he could like save Jericho. I don't think they would go that way, but who knows. I still don't think Punk's going to be at Payback. I think he's going to be at Payback. I don't think he's going to wrestle at Payback. But I could be wrong. I mean, they could be playing into my my armchair bookerness. So, big win right there. And Kane runs into Ryback in the backstage area, of course. He goes like, "Did you see what I did on Monday?" And Kane goes, "You know what? Daniel's my partner. I want to see if you can do that to me." And Ryback laughs at him. He goes, Kane goes, "You know, I tombstoned a priest. I set a man on fire. And I buried my brother alive. Ryback's rules don't apply to me." That was awesome. I love that kind of stuff. It's amazing. And then we see the original Wyatt family promo that we saw the first week on Raw. Still chilling stuff, really awesome stuff. I love the Wyatt family. I love the fact they're coming up to WWE, and rumor has it there's going to be more than a couple of people that are going to be joining the Wyatt family. They don't need to oversaturate it, though, and I'm not exactly sure you bring in. If you want to bring someone to the Wyatt family that would fit really well, character-wise, what about Trevor Murdoch? How about Trevor Murdoch in the Wyatt family? I had this big armchair booking scenario with Daniel Bryan coming in and joining the Wyatt family, and basically that's the reason why he's brainwashed by Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt's his savior, and he's the person that made him realize that he was good enough. He wasn't good enough for anyone else, but he's good enough for Bray and the Wyatt family, so that's the reason he turns. But we're not going to turn Daniel Bryan heel. He's going to be babyface. Even though rumor has it he's supposed to face John Cena at Money in the Bank, but that's another story altogether. Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, that's one of those two. I think it's Money in the Bank, actually. That's what's penciled in as of right now. So it's going to be, like I said, it was the summer of Punk before, and now we like to call 2013 the year of the dragon. And that is awesome, because Daniel Bryan is amazing. So, we get another match, supposedly. Alberto Del Rio comes out with Ricardo Rodriguez, and he starts the introduction as usual in Spanish, and he goes into English and introduces ADR, and he comes out and he faces off against the leader of three-man band, Heath Slater, and it's really nice to see 3MB back on television because they've been gone for a minute. So, basically, match doesn't even start. Three-man band just three-way jump Del Rio. So, Drew McIntyre goes for the big boot, ends up big booting Jinder Mahal, knocking him out of the ring. ADR throws him out of the ring and nails a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, locks on the cross-arm breaker, and Slater taps. But apparently the match was never started, so there's no official winner or loser in this match. There's technically no official match. So Ricardo jumps on Drew's back, and he gets flipped off. ADR ends up backdropping him over the top rope to the arena floor. Ricardo climbs the top rope and does a cross-body off the top rope onto the three-man band, Heath Slater and Jinder Mahal, in this case. And he raises Ricardo's hands in victory, and that's the end of the segment. Or so it seems. Well, you hear the sounds of applause, and then the bright, shining, smiling face of your current World Heavyweight Champion, the show-off Dolph Ziggler, is just standing there smiling. And he goes, you know, he's clapping. He's like, bravo, bravo, congrats, it's a great job. You know, for someone that isn't me. Now, don't worry, Alberto. I'm stealing the spotlight, because you know what? That's what I do. I steal the spotlight. I steal the show. It's kind of my thing. And I want to let you know a little bit of information. The other day, I got medically cleared. I can compete again. And this Monday on Raw, I will return to the ring. So that's great for everyone, because it's going to be awesome to see Dolph back in the ring again, and I'm really looking forward to Monday so we can see that. So we get our Kane Ryback match, which is a plotting big man affair like I thought it was going to be. Ryback drives in his ambulance like he always does. One really awesome thing, he gorilla press slammed Kane. That looked amazing. I'm just trying to look for a right word to describe it. It's just incredible. Incredible, it's not even a word. So, Kane with a big boot, whips him into the corner clothesline, whips him to the opposite corner, catches him in the sidewalk slam, you know, the normal Kane interference, the normal Kane offense. So, he choke thrusts him, he ends up DDTing Ryback off the ropes, he clotheslines him over the top rope to the arena floor. Kane gets pulled into the barricade, and then Ryback sends him into the barricade a couple times back of the head first. He grabs the table, slides it into the ring, and Kane goes up top for the flying clothesline. He misses. Ryback nails a spine buster and goes for the meat hook. He gets countered into the choke slam, and Ryback kicks out at 2.5. He actually really doesn't kick out. At 2.5, Ryback grabs the bottom rope, so that breaks the count. So Kane sets the table up because he wants to give a little payback to Ryback for what he did to Daniel Bryan on Monday. Obviously, he doesn't really care about Kofi or Cena. He just cares about his tag team partner, even though they're not seeing eye to eye right now. So he goes for the goozle. Ryback rakes the eyes, and he powerbombs Kane straight through the table. Okay. Ryback has to look strong going into his loss to John Cena at Payback, because John Cena, of course, will win the Lumberjack match, because he'll pin Ryback. And then Ryback doesn't have to pin John Cena to win the tables match, so that's how you work it there. And Ryback's going to take the ride in the ambulance, and that's going to be how we end the show. Yeah. What am I thinking right now that somehow he's going to... I can see this right now. They're on top. I think they've actually done this before. They're on top of the ambulance. They're fighting, and they look like they're going to go off at one point. And at this point, Ryback gets picked up for the AA. Gets AA'd through the roof of the ambulance, and both men go through. And the fans go crazy for it. Cena, like, crawls out the back door, slams it. The ref rings the bell, and that's the finish. Yeah. You're welcome, WWE, if that's the finish. So we get our Damien Sandow intellectual challenge of the week. I'm starting to really get interested in these promos. Yeah, that's sarcasm. I love Damien Sandow. Sandow is gold on the mic and gold in the ring. I really wish he would get one up, and tonight he actually does. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll actually discuss that in just a second. So, you know what? Every single week, Sheamus has failed every single one of my intellectual challenges. What man is my intellectual equal? There's an easy answer to that. No one. So, you know, you guys are all checker minds living in a chess world. I love that. That's awesome. And he basically says, silence! You know what's challenging? Not a man, but how about a supercomputer? How about Deep Blue? The same supercomputer that actually defeated Kasparov, the chess prodigy, a long time ago. Obviously, this computer has no equal. But Damien Sandow is just intellectually strong enough to be able to put him away. So he says, you know what? Bobby Fischer was a chess champion at 15, but Damien Sandow was a chess champion at 8 years old. So he moves one move, which is a pawn forward 2 spaces, and he starts to think about it, and the computer is basically cheering him on. It's like, good move, Damien. He's like, silence! He tries to silence the computer. It's really funny. Here comes Sheamus, of course. Sheamus comes out and says, Damo, every week there's a new challenge. You're a couple of moves away from beating a supercomputer at chess. Now, I'm going to bet you can't beat a supercomputer in one move. But I can. He goes, you know what, please don't embarrass yourself here on live television. Of course, they're not live. National television's the right word we're looking for here. Sorry, Damien. It's your reputation. Have at it. So Sheamus looks at it. And he kind of like goes over his strategy a bit. He kind of mumbles to himself a little bit. He's like, I've got it. So what does he do? He brogue kicks the computer. That's beating the computer in one move. So, it is the equivalent of a pun. It really is. And I hate puns. So he pushes the table aside. Sandow pops him with a mic and finally gets over on Sheamus. Starts pounding away and slamming him he throws him head first into the circular table. And then he literally slams the back of his head over and over and over and over again into the table. Sheamus is left laying, and Sandow is on top saying, you're welcome. It's awesome. I'm glad Sandow actually got one over on Sheamus this time. It's about freaking time they actually let him get something over on Sheamus, because Sheamus is getting way too much shine from this feud. I want Sandow to win this feud, obviously, but don't think it's going to happen. Still not enough matches for this feud for my taste. So, we get Daniel Bryan in the back again, and he goes, what? You know what? He's in with Randy Orton this time. He's like, I didn't ask Kane to defend me. When Randy Orton mentions the fact that Kane's pretty much in the trainer's room right now being checked over, and Bryan seems like he doesn't really care, he's like, Orton's trying to be the peacemaker again, like he's unsuccessfully does time after time, and says, you know what, let's put all our problems aside. How about we just beat the Shield tonight? And Bryan goes, you know what, stay out of my way. It's my mission to beat the Shield single-handedly. We're not partners. Is what Randy Orton says. He's like, you know what? I don't like you at all. So we get the second Wyatt family promo after the one that was aired on Raw this past week. And like I said, more Wyatt family now. Bring Bray Wyatt, Eric Rowan, and Luke Harper to Raw and SmackDown as soon as possible. Make them there for October 8th. SmackDown. Cheap plug. Nationwide Arena, Columbus, Ohio. Pop goes to SmackDown. Me, Ben, Will, and Kristen will all be going to SmackDown. So, it's going to be awesome. So we're in Long Island, and basically we get Fandango with the absolutely stunning Summer Rae, looking absolutely gorgeous tonight, like she always does, facing off against hometown boy Zack Ryder, Long Island Ice Z himself. And I'm really happy to see Ryder back on television. He's sporting long trunks. I like that. He's growing his hair out, obviously. There's been some rumors that there's something on the horizon for Ryder, and I don't care what it is, it's got to be better than what's going on right now. And I really like Zack Ryder, and I remember that I love Z True to Long Island's story, and I'm very happy to see that it went as long as it did. When it ended at the right time, and the funny thing is apparently there's going to be a new YouTube show, tentatively going to be called Last Resort, with a Z, obviously, because Zack Ryder. So, we get Fandango taking on Zack Ryder. This match was actually pretty good, to be totally honest. It was short, but it was good. Short, but fair. So, Fandango hits a spinning heel kick, and knees Ryder in the face 2 times. Nails a very stiff, tight European uppercut and a forearm. So he kicks him in the chest, nails a face buster, and Fandango charges in, catches the double knees into the chest, and he goes down momentarily, like backs off. Ryder comes to the middle turnbuckle and nails a missile dropkick off the ropes, and nails the broski boot, pulls him out of the corner, and a 2 count. Fandango kicks away. So a discus clothesline, and he goes for the Rough Rider, but he gets caught and released powerbombed. He goes up top for the guillotine leg drop, which I have now deemed the perfect 10, and he gets the 3 count off of it. So Fandango wins. Summer does her gorgeous split, that she always does, raising the mic in the air, and he's like, "My name is Fandango!" And the fans are Fandangoing all over the place, and you can tell that the chants and the boos are being like piped in, because you really can tell that the fans are really into it. So, Miz was on commentary in this match to put over the fact that the match that I told you was going to happen is going to happen at Payback. The Miz and Fandango in a 3-way dance with the Intercontinental Champion Wade Barrett with the championship on the line, and I do see Fandango walking out with the Intercontinental Championship next Sunday night. I almost guarantee that's going to happen, and I don't have a problem with that. Then he can feud with both men over the summertime and maybe get the match after SummerSlam. So that's what we're going to look at right there. So we see Caitlyn backstage, showing a lot of cleavage, mind you. That was nice. And she runs into Natty, and basically she's talking about she gets to meet her secret admirer on Raw Monday night. So 2 days from now, she's going to meet her secret admirer on Raw. And Natty's like, you know what? There could be some creeps out there, and you might want to not do this in such a public forum. How about you guys meet before the show or something like that? And Caitlyn kind of gets a little frustrated and goes, you know, if he was a creep, he'd be meeting you. Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. So we get to our main event of the evening. It's Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, your current WWE Tag Team Champions, taking on the Viper Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. So this match was really good, actually. And these matches have been awesome lately. Daniel Bryan has been the MVP of WWE, like, without a doubt. Daniel Bryan's matches have been 4-star. They've been classics. All these matches with the Shield, all the singles matches. He had great matches against Ryback, of all people. He got a great match against the Great Khali. He's a miracle worker, Daniel Bryan is. And I cannot wait for this Cena-Bryan match. It's going to be phenomenal, by the way. So, Bryan, of course, has some protective tape on his arm covering up the injury he withstood from being powerbombed through the table by Ryback on Raw Monday night. So, Orton gets tagged in midway through the match. He nails Vintage Orton. If you haven't watched any of these recaps before and you don't know anything what Vintage Orton is, I'll tell you what it is. It's the clothesline, duck the opponent's clothesline, and the snap Samoa Joe style power slam. Not power slamming the other member of the Shield like normal, mind you, but apparently that's only a 6-man tag gimmick. So he kicks Reigns in the face. Well, long day. Kicked Rollins in the face, and he nails the snakebite DDT, which is the rope assist that DDT likes to hit. And Reigns pulls him outside when he starts to pound the mat, getting ready to his Viper stance, and that's a smart move because it breaks the momentum. So they choke him on the middle rope, and Rollins hits a cheap shot in the lateral press from Reigns. He gets a 2 count out of it. Orton counters the backdrop suplex, and Seth ends up getting tagged in, and he goes to cut Randy Orton off at the pass before he can make the tag into Daniel Bryan. Drags him into the corner, and they kick and punch away on Randy Orton, like they're pounding him out. Tag into Roman Reigns. He stomps him twice. Tag back in. Whips Rollins into Orton's boot. He counters with a boot right in the face. Orton moves out of the way, and Roman goes shoulder first into the ring post. So he goes down. He nails Rollins with a clothesline, explodes out of the corner. Seth tries to stop Orton again, but he ends up making the hot tag to Daniel Bryan. He comes in, nails a double missile dropkick nails a double missile dropkick on both members of the Shield. So they're both down and out at this point. He kips up. He starts hitting the yes kicks to Rollins, and then the yes kicks to Reigns. Kick Rollins, kick Reigns, kick Rollins, kick Reigns. He goes for the buzzsaw. He nails Roman, knocks him down. He goes for a buzzsaw on Rollins. Rollins ducks it, and he doesn't duck the second one, so he nails him in that one. So he gets whipped in. He backflips off the top rope, and instead of the hooking clothesline, he comes off after ducking the clothesline, waistlock, and a release German suplex on Seth Rollins, and nails a suicide dive on both members of the Shield that are on the floor at this point. So they toss Rollins back in. He nails a swan dive headbutt, and Roman Reigns makes a save right before the 3 count is completed. RKO and Roman Reigns. So now it looks like that Bryan and Orton are going to win this thing. Rollins sends him into the corner. He drives the shoulders into Orton's midsection over and over again. Bryan goes for the drop kick in the corner, and instead of drop kicking Rollins, Daniel Bryan goes for the drop kick in the corner instead of nailing Rollins. Rollins ducks out of the way, and he nails Orton flush in the jaw, so he's down and out at this point. And he schoolboys him, does Rollins, trying to steal the win. It gets reversed into the no-lock, and right before Rollins is about to tap, Dean Ambrose, of all people, runs in the ring and attacks Daniel Bryan, calling for the DQ, and the match is over. So they stomp away, they hold Daniel Bryan, and he gets kicked. He elbows Ambrose, and he backdrops Rollins onto Reigns and Ambrose on the outside, standing ringside. And Bryan just turns around, and bam! RKO! Randy Orton lays out Daniel Bryan, standing tall over him, and that's how we end SmackDown. So, what did we learn, boys and girls? Well, Miz TV is basically just another interview segment that is utilized to put over storylines and to set up main events for shows. That's how it works. That's how the highlight reel worked. That's how Piper's Pit worked. That's how the Flower Shop with Adrian Adonis worked. That's how all these segments have worked over the years. And, heck, even the Brother Love show technically works, and the Funeral Parlor with the late, great Paul Bearer, it works just the same. They all were used as devices to further storylines and to set up matches for down the road, and most of the time, the matches for that evening. So, Randy Orton and Hell No have a fight, and basically Kane leaves Daniel Bryan. He's like, I've had enough of this, and he walks out. We see Curtis Axel get his first pinfall win over a main eventer, beating Chris Jericho. And I still think that match will happen again at Payback, but who knows? I could be getting worked. It's a possibility. Good match. Really good match, actually. And Axel showed a lot against Jericho, got his axe to grind off, went for the perfect plex, got reversed on the walls. And Heyman with the distraction, playing Punk's music, and it allowed for the Schoolboy, the tights hooked, and Axel to win. And I don't have a problem with that, because that works. Kane and Ryback had a altercation just to set up their match at the end of the night, and that was fine. Del Rio against Heath Slater didn't really even get started, but Del Rio, it was basically set up the Del Rio-Dolph Ziggler confrontation at the end, which is setting up the Dolph returning to the ring on Monday's Raw. Again, I don't have a problem with that. Kane and Ryback was your normal plotting big man match. Ryback hit an awesome Gorilla Press Slam, and Ryback ended up powerbombing Kane through a table, so that's how the match ended. Sandow finally got one over on Sheamus, and it's about freaking time it happened, too, because it's never the case that Sandow gets one over on Sheamus. It's always the other way around, but this time the intellectual savior of the masses pulls one over on the Irishman, and that is a good thing. We're leading to more matches between the two in the near future. Fandango gets a win over Zack Ryder. That's fine. Ryder gets a huge pop in his hometown, and I hear he's getting a huge push soon. Fandango is still getting the tweener pop at this point. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people do like him, so he's kind of in the middle at this point. I don't have a problem with that. We're going to get the revelation on who Caitlyn's secret admirer is on Raw Monday night. A lot of ways you can go with this. I've heard it could possibly be Biggie Langston. I've also heard that it could be something really underwhelming like Hornswoggle, something stupid like that. I really hope it's not that. It could be Could be Damian Sandow that starts the rift between Sandow and Cody Rhodes. I don't think that's going to happen. Because that would turn Caitlyn heel, and that's not going to happen, because Sandow's not going babyface anytime soon. Could be Dolph Ziggler, but I doubt that. I don't think they're going in that direction. It could be Santino, because Santino usually gets pushed into stuff like this. It could be the Bellas just screwing with Caitlyn, trying to get her hopes up and everything, and they reveal that they're her secret admirer, and then they attack her, and then, yeah, whatever. Or it could be somebody we're not even expecting. I mean, it could be somebody that's returning. It could be Evan Bourne, who is not coming back on television. It could be Christian. It could be anybody, really. Somebody to get back on television. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what direction we're going to go, so we'll find out sooner rather than later. We'll find out on Raw what's going to happen. That's just not really a prediction. It's kind of like what I think could happen. So, another amazing night for Daniel Bryan. He goes toe-to-toe with the Shield again and proves his worth as the MVP of WWE at this moment. Him and Randy Orton had the altercation at the end of the match, with Orton nailing the RKO on Daniel Bryan, and this is leading towards Bryan and Orton at Payback, and also leading to Orton finally turning heel, which I know he's wanted to do for a long time, with Daniel Bryan going after Orton, and then they feud for a bit, and then John Cena swoops in somehow and faces Daniel Bryan. I don't know how they're going to lead to that, but I guess we'll figure it out sooner rather than later, because they want Bryan and Cena at Money in the Bank, so I'd hold it off till SummerSlam, to be totally honest, and let Orton and Bryan feud at Payback and Money in the Bank, and then, because then you'll take the tag team titles out of the way and give the Shield a new opposition, which would be the Usos, because they're pushing them right now. And obviously the Wyatt family, who don't care if you're face or heel, they're going to jump you anyway, because they don't like anyone but themselves. So, not really an arrogance thing, it's just the Shield. The Shield's all about, like, justice, and the Wyatt family are about cleansing the world of everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. If you don't drink the Kool-Aid, you're not down with the Wyatt family, and that means Bray Wyatt's going to smoke you. And that's how it works. But, that was, NXT and Smackdown for this week, so more notes and more notes in the trash. Sorry I went so long today, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, then thumbs up, do leave a comment, do subscribe, tell your friends to do the same. We're still looking for that 10,000 views and that 50 subscribers before 2013 is over. We are 15 subscribers away from hitting our 50, and we are, at this point, 2,606 views away from 10,000. So we've come a long way in a very short amount of time. We will talk WWE again on Monday night / Tuesday morning, depending on when I decide to shoot the video, depending on what happens Monday. And we're going to be talking WWE for Raw, and we'll talk SmackDown and NXT next Saturday. You want to hear about Impact, we'll talk Impact on Friday mornings. Sorry, Thursday night / Friday morning, depending on how that works. So that would be the videos for tonight. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and if you want to follow me on Twitter, you can, at SirOwenDisney. If you want to become part of the Popcaster Revolution, send me an email at SirOwenDisney@gmail.com, and we'll put you on Pop and make you a Popcaster, so I'll give you your 15 minutes here on the internet, so there's always that. So, until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.